It's Clark and Perry on the case.
Da-na-na-na, Clark and Perry, do what it takes. Da-na-na-na, Clark and Perry, investigate.
The activities and interests of local artists in the Windy City's finest throughout both Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, Alberta. Available on TELUS, Optic TV, On Demand, VidFlex, YouTube, and more for limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.
Da-na-na-na.
Hello, once again. I'm Clark, he's Perry, and welcome to the Windy City's finest. We're going to be joined here going over some great interviews when it comes to photography and embroidery with none other than Medicine Hat's Alex Watz. So Alex, how about you introduce yourself?
Sure. So like you said, my name is Alex Watz.
Yeah.
I am born and raised in Medicine Hat, and I'm a photographer, a theater artist, and an embroiderer, I guess, among other things.
Yeah.
My socials, I am Write Your Own Dream on Instagram.
Write Your Own Dream at Instagram.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then it's Alex Watz on Facebook. My last name is W-A-T-Z.
Excellent.
And yeah, that's about all the socials I got.
Yeah, hey, that's okay. Worth a follow for sure. And also, I really appreciate your patience with us rehearsing that bit for the past 30 minutes. That's that really speaks to your character. That's
It was
good.
lovely to watch.
No, that's awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you've decided to join us for this, because we've been wanting to try to highlight and get a chance to actually get to know you a little bit better as well too, and see what more you bring into Medicine Hat. So to kind of just start us off and to start at some surface level questions, what is one of the moments that you're most proud of?
One of the moments I'm most proud of, honestly, I think it was it was the first photography show that I ever got to do.
Yeah.
And it came out of the blue. Somebody had just seen some of my pictures online and just messaged me and asked if we could put them in a gallery.
Mm-hmm.
And it was there was no money involved. It was just a fun thing for me, but it was surreal to walk around and just see the things that I did just on the walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like the first time you see all your work presented for everybody to see, not just yourself.
Oh crap,
right?
this is real.
Yeah. Not just so self-serving, right? No, that's amazing. So what would you consider your greatest accomplishment then?
Honestly, I think my greatest accomplishment is, it sounds kind of cheesy, but the confidence that I've gotten as I've gotten older doing art, and being able to actually go up to people and suggest ideas, or do a project on my own where no one else is involved. It's just me pushing my own art to go places.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. I find, and I kind of agree with that, I find a lot of artists kind of catch themselves where it's very self-serving at first, and they're never too sure when the next step should be, always too nervous that other people might not like it, right?
Yeah, which is definitely a fear, but if you like it, why not?
I'm sure other people will too, right?
Exactly.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, what are other things that you're still hoping to accomplish?
So many things.
Yeah.
In terms of art, I would love to actually be able to do another gallery. Would be really cool. I have a couple projects that I would love to set up in a specific gallery showing. But I mean, just in life, I think I'd like to travel more, and I'd like to explore the world and see kind of what that brings in and how that affects me in my art, because it changes with me
all the
so
time.
there's so many things. I'm still so young.
Yeah.
There's so many things.
A lot of other opportunities as well too. So if you don't mind me asking, which gala were you able to present to again?
So it was in Lethbridge. It wasn't an art gallery necessarily, but there's a youth club there that was doing a queer event. And they found a gender photography project that I had done in university. They had seen the postings I did of that and asked me to put some of them in their little gallery opening. So yeah,
that's awesome.
That's what that was.
Have you considered reaching out to local venues here in Medicine Hat or in Lethbridge as well too, to see where you can place things up?
I definitely have. Right now it's I'm in the middle of these two projects that they're super long, gonna be very long getting them started and getting them going.
Yeah.
And so I'm not quite at the process of applying or asking people to be able to showcase them, but I'm at the point of imagining how cool it would be if it worked.
Yeah, no.
So I have a couple places here, some in Lethbridge, maybe some in Calgary that I could reach out to and be
Yeah.
maybe.
And just kind of see, right? Because
Yeah.
the worst they can say is always
no.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's lovely. So one thing that I want our viewers to find out is, what is one thing that you want people to know about you?
Ooh, one thing I want people to know about me. Interesting.
It's weird. It's
It
a
is.
weird question.
It
but-
is because, okay. One thing I want people to know about me, I guess, is that I'm anxious all the time. Like, I really am. So even in moments that it's like I'm super confident and this is what I know how to do, there's still that underlying anxiety that kind of permeates all of that.
Yep.
But I'm trying to not let it hold me
Yeah.
back.
Which kind of makes those good reactions that you experience when you have built that confidence and go and ask those questions and get that positive feedback right there, that really kind of helps diminish the anxiety.
It kicks it down a notch, which is always nice.
Yeah. So when things get tough, say for when you are super anxious and you're able to identify that, how do you cope when things get tough?
Yeah, so I'm a verbal processor.
Okay.
So I have like friends that I talk to or things like that, or sometimes I will drive around and just scream sing in my car, which is very cathartic. But in situations where that is not doable, I usually have like I'll fidget with my rings a lot, or I have like little like a worry stone I carry in my pocket. So it's like a little thing I can do with my hands that puts the energy somewhere so that I can focus on not that.
Yeah. That smooth sensation, like with the worry stone, I have similar objects as well.
I do
too.
love it.
It's soothing because it's not abrasive.
It's just, you don't have to think about it. It's just there.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. That's very interesting. What are 3 words that you would use to describe what you're most grateful for?
What I'm most grateful for. Okay, so I think love would be one of them. Kindness would be another. And like openness, I think, is another one.
Yeah. And why those 3, if you don't mind me asking?
They kind of encompass, well, I guess the thing that I'm most grateful for, which is the family and friends that I have. And the people that I am close to, they all have those kind of characteristics that make it feel safe to just be me and do whatever I need to do, and vice versa. So it just, creates a safe space within the people that I have around me.
Yeah. Now, do you find that community that you have and your friends and family influences your art in any way?
They definitely do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's just, I'm the person with the camera. Like, I follow my friends around. I have so many photos of all of my friends doing all of these things.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just them doing things and I'm like, well, that's really cool. Just don't move.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it's something they say or something they do that I'm like, oh, well, we're doing something with that. So they're constantly influencing me.
Yeah. No, that's good. And so I guess, when do you know is one of those moments to take like a photo?
Oh,
like,
this is kind of not helpful, but it's like a gut feeling.
Yeah.
So for me, a good photo is about, part of it, I guess, is about the framing of it. So sometimes it's like I'm on a walk and I'll see something and it's like, oh, well, that would be good. Like if I was watching a movie, that's a very cinematic shot.
Yeah.
And so I can just frame it right and do that. Or if it's with people, it's like, I love emotions. And so candid shots is one of my favorite. And so if it's just people having fun or doing something or just not paying attention, they're like beautiful photos because there's no awkwardness or any kind of holding back. They just are who they are in that moment. And I love that.
I've seen plenty of stock images before of like people frozen in laughter. Okay, you're rolling your eyes already. You kind of know where I'm going with this. I'm like, do you prefer capturing pictures in the moment to capture these emotions?
I do,
Okay.
yeah. So if it is like we're laughing now, like usually it's, I mean, situations in front of the camera can get kind of awkward. There's like a little bit of,
Tell me about it.
like, there's that underlying like bubble of anxiety or nervousness. And so laughter can kind of bubble up fairly easy.
Yeah.
So usually it's like cracking a joke, or if they have people they're comfortable with, sometimes it's just conversations or making a funny face at each other to just trigger those emotions to like come out and actually be laughing.
Yeah.
Which just makes it better.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
so much less awkward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I can only imagine just having to ask those people, okay, now do this, like laugh again, please.
Yeah.
Like do it again.
Yeah, and it is one of those things that if you fake laugh long enough, you will real laugh. And so sometimes it's just that. It's like you have to look at the person you're with and you have to fake laugh, no breaking eye contact, and it'll turn into laughter.
And it will turn into laughter just
Yeah.
to break the awkwardness
Mhm.
of fake laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. So you mentioned like capturing cinematic movies or
Mhm.
like cinematic moments, I
Yeah.
should say as well too. So that do you have like favorite movies that have maybe given influence to those cinematic moments?
I think as an adult, I have some favorite directors that I like to watch. I think it was more I was an avid story consumer, and so movies I love to lose myself in, TV shows, books, and so it's like those moments in movies, like The Goonies, for example.
Yes. Yes.
Where you're in this cave, and it could just be like a little cave, but the way that it's framed makes it look like this mysterious magical place that you're going to. And I loved that about that kind of era of movies. I guess it's like what, the 80s?
Yeah,
The 80s I
90s,
found
yeah.
to be very like cinematic and naturally so in some of the things they did. So that definitely kind of I think kicked off my interest of it. And now it's just kind of playing like with like colors. Like Wes Anderson is always known for like his big colorful in the way he films things, or so just all of these things that I can watch these movies and go, okay, well that would be cool if we did it this way.
Yeah,
photography. Yeah.
You kind of mentioned the 80s and 90s being great for cinematic moments as well too, and a lot of them use like practical effects.
Yes.
I remember just loving the Lord of the Rings series because of the heavy use of practical effects in capturing character.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself more as a practical effects person, or do you prefer more of the behind the screen editing, CGI, that type of stuff?
I am a much more of a practical effects person. I think it comes from my theater background.
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
there is like something so satisfying about either making a prop or using makeup to bring out the effect you want. I'm also not a huge tech person, and so I'm still learning that side of things. And so it just makes it easier that I can make it with my hands rather than try to figure it out on the program.
Yeah, that's so funny. And I find that a lot of people like share the opposite mindset, but for the same reason as well too. They're very tech savvy, but don't know how to do it practically as well too.
Yeah, which is very interesting.
No, that's very interesting. I'm very excited because we obviously have planned to do some practical effects with photography, which will come soon.
Yes.
But no, that's very interesting to kind of think about. So I guess kind of dialing back a little bit as well too. Who sticks out as being an early positive influence in your life?
Early positive influence. There was so I was in the children's hospital a lot as a kid, and there was a nurse that was on the ward I was in and had been like the same nurse from I think when I was like 6 years old all the way until like 18, like when I got out of the children's program of the hospital. And so we got pretty close because I saw her at least once a month, and she was constantly like just excited about anything that I was telling her that I was doing. We'd give each other little Christmas gifts, and so always in my cards there would be like an encouraging message. She had like cut out newspaper comics about like little girls watching like the like awards on TV and being like, you're gonna be there one day. Like she was just like this constant positive support that I had.
That's
so
amazing.
it was that nurse.
And again, it kind of ties into those things that you're most grateful for as well too. Those friends and family just help uplift and create.
Absolutely.
At the end too. No, that's lovely. So I guess the next question I have here is, who is most important to you now?
I think it's like there's like an inner core. Like I feel like for me, my relationships, they kind of go in a whirlpool kind of effect. So there's like the inner core is the family that I'm super close to. I have a big family, and there are, I love them all, but there is a bunch of them that I talk to more, or they're more often, that are just closer to me. And I think it's that with friends. It's the people that don't take any energy.
Yeah.
Like you just can exist around them. You can be who you want to be, do what you want to do, and
you don't have to hide anything.
Yeah. There's no judgment. It's just easy.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's like a shared love where you're like, okay, well, I can be mad at you and we can have a fight, but we will be fine afterwards. Like, you know what I mean?
And even those folks that you haven't talked to for
Yeah.
years, and yet the next time you meet, it's like
Yeah.
you
Like you
saw
can-
each other last week.
Yeah, you can pick up the phone being like, I'm having a problem, or even just to say hi, and they'll be like, yeah, okay, I'm here. What's up?
Yeah.
Like,
I find to capture that moment that you can just exist and not feel like you have to get anything ready is like you don't have to feel like you have to clean your house.
yes, like you
when
could
they're arriving.
be the worst in your home and be like, no, it's fine. It's you. You can
Yeah,
come in.
Yeah,
Like,
Just-
yeah, no,
you,
absolutely.
you can see me like that.
Mhm.
No, that's good. That's very good. Excellent. So, so you mentioned here that you were born and raised here in Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
How did that influence your growing up?
Yeah. Honestly, like childhood here was great.
Yeah.
Medicine Hat is a city, but it feels like a small town.
It does.
Yeah, there's a lot of interconnectedness in a lot of surprising ways,
Mhm.
and it has grown since I was little. But the community's always been really strong. So, like I was saying earlier, there's actually like little street fairs that they'll do all the time during the summer, and they do them in the park now. But they used to do them downtown in our like bus depot. They would stop the buses for that day, and you would just like have a jazz fest in this parkade where the music would just echo everywhere, and it didn't like there's people you knew, you didn't know, but you're all just dancing, and there's street food, like so many food trucks in Medicine Hat.
Yeah.
But as a kid, it was kind of like a magical place.
Yeah.
There was so many opportunities, like community theater is a really big thing here, and so I would do so much community theater. There's like art programs that you can do for kids. There's like all sorts of things that are happening at the library, at the community center, at like the Esplanade. There's just so many places, and so it felt like an exploratory place. Like I didn't have to pick one thing. I could jump around and do a bunch of things, and everyone was always so welcoming, which was nice. It wasn't like this is our secret little club and you can't be here. It was, oh, you're new? That's great.
Openness, right?
Yeah,
That's very
so it was
important.
magical.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And so what were those things that you probably gravitated towards the most?
So I started with piano lessons.
Okay.
Hated it.
Yep. Yep. Many people do.
Yeah. So then I moved from piano to singing. Stuck with that for about 8 years. And then community theater kind of, I think I got bit by that bug in grade 1, I think is the first time I did like my first community theater show. I was a pig in a Narnia show, and it was great.
Yes. Yes.
And then it just kind of like continued. I think my cousin was the one that got me into that one. Like it just, I mean, it was so fun. There were so many things I loved about it.
Yeah.
I did community sports as well. I played water polo for a while.
Yeah.
I did baseball a little bit when I was little, and swimming, like a lot. Swimming lessons for a long time. Yeah. So
that's fantastic. So just that multidisciplinary aspect of yourself was able to kind of lead into the person that you are today.
Oh yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. I guess one of the other things, I had another question off the top of my head, but I'll just go down the list here real quick. Oh, here it is. So you had so much availability and openness here when growing up. Currently, now, what do you need more of in your life?
I think now it would be nice to have that openness again.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with a lot of our world being online, it becomes a little bit harder to like reach people to find those connections. So sometimes it's like going into a business and even applying for a job, it's like, oh, you got to go online.
Yeah.
Got to type that in. So there's no like face-to-face value.
Yeah.
there.
And sorry, and just to make sure that I was clear on the connection piece, it's more of that face-to-face, like getting to know the person, getting to see their smile, that.
Yeah. It's like there's a little bit more nerve-wracking going up to somebody you don't know, because usually it's like, oh, well, I saw you on Instagram, here's a DM, like, do you want to do this with me? And rather than seeing somebody on the street and being like, okay, I promise I'm not being weird, it's just that you guys look really cool, can I take your photo?
Yeah.
So it's like there's a little bit, it's an extra added harder step, or getting to know businesses or people that you can kind of create with, unless you're in the space with them.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a little bit harder to find those connections. Less open door policy now, I think, what it feels like.
I find a lot of people are like, this may not be the right way, so please debate if you want. But I find that it's more when you reach out to somebody online, they're very objective about it. They're kind of just like, okay, well, what are you having to offer? Like, what are your followers or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Versus if you just approach them, they're kind of like, it's more subjective to how you just made them feel.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
hey, you look beautiful today, all
Yeah.
that stuff. May I take your picture
Yeah.
or something? So that
It is, yeah, absolutely.
that's kind of there. Okay, sweet. So in contrast to that previous question, what do you need less of in your life?
Less of in my life. I feel like probably like negativity. And what I mean by that is sometimes it's my own negativity. It's my anxiety going like, you shouldn't do this. This is weird. Or you can't do this. You don't have the talent or whatever. And sometimes those get echoed at you from places, whether it's the followers thing. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, you don't have enough followers or you don't have enough clout or whatever it is. I don't really want to work with you. And it's like, but how do you know that they're not amazing if you don't try? So those kind of things, I think, are a lot kind of funnel into directly negativity and how you view talent.
No, exactly. So again, kind of like tied to that piece of making sure or having some other ways to be able to directly influence the person and kind of those asks. Oh, that's good. That's interesting. So you mentioned that you grew up here in Medicine Hat, yet you got your degree in Lethbridge. Is that right? Can you talk more on that?
So I had applied to Lethbridge for theater because my favorite drama teacher in high school had gone there. And she talked about it being like this magical theater place. And I was like, well, okay, I'm going. And at the time, it was close enough to my home that it didn't feel so far away, but it was far enough away that I could still like exist separate. And so that was a big decision for me. The big factor was because like I'm very close to my family. And so being away from them was terrifying. But being in a new environment was so cool. Like I was able to be who I was without the added like all of the years that everybody has accumulated and how they view me are gone because I'm in a new place. I'm just me. So that was the factor for it.
And you mentioned that you were from a large family as well too. Is your entire family from here in Medicine Hat?
No. Okay, so it's kind of complicated because on my dad's side, my great grandma lived here. Lived and died here. Like she was here for years. She raised my grandma and her siblings here, and then my grandma moved to Calgary. And then she had kids, and my aunt and my dad moved back to Medicine Hat. And so there is like quite a family root here on that side. So I've always had family here, but not all of them. Most of them are in Calgary and then in between kind of Lethbridge area, like Nanton and Stapley.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I because I kind of connected that as well too. So I only had the immediate family out here in Lethbridge, Alberta for the longest time. Everybody else lived from and in the East Coast. So I understand having to separate yourself from family can be it's a bigger decision than what you think.
It absolutely is. Because it's leaving these people that have built you, like those bonds that you have with them. And as long as it's like a positive place, even if it's not, it's kind of hard to extricate yourself sometimes.
It's Clark and Perry on the case.
Clark and Perry, do what it takes. Clark and Perry, investigate.
The activities and interests of local artists in the Windy City's finest throughout both Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, Alberta. Available on TELUS Optic TV, On Demand, VidFlex, YouTube, and more for limited time only. Terms and conditions apply.